Liz Lamping here, PHRA's Executive Director. Welcome to P4, People, Purpose, Passion, Pittsburgh. P4 is brought to you by our members and sponsors, Latitude and the University of Pittsburgh Executive MBA Programs and Center for Executive Education. We appreciate their support, and we will hear from them throughout the podcast, beginning with the University of Pittsburgh Executive MBA Programs and Center for Executive Education.
Everybody, and welcome back for our next installment of our P4 podcast, People, Purpose, and Passion. I am your co-host or guest host, Dylan Jenkins, filling in for PHRA, and it is my pleasure to have you joining us. So for all the newcomers out there, welcome. For all of us that are tuning in again, I hope you've enjoyed the series thus far. We have another powerhouse duo with us today, Shanel and Valerie, who I've worked with over the past year, maybe 2 years now, and have really enjoyed my time. So with that being said, Valerie, I'm actually going to start with you. I'd love for you to kind of give the viewers and listeners a little bit of background of yourself, who you are, both personally and professionally.
Sure. So I'll start with a philosophical question. Who are you? And I'll say that I am a connector. And I have a little bit of imposter syndrome saying that because I'm an introvert. I am not the life of the party. I am not comfortable in large groups of people. But I am a person who values genuine, meaningful connections. And I value friendship. And so my relationships, whether it's through work, through school, through cohorts, through professional development, if I connect with someone, I will do everything I can to foster that connection and to support that person. Recently, I completed grad school, and I am the person who started a little cohort get-together. So every month we have our Zoom get-together, and it's so important to me to keep that relationship going. HR is about employees' lives, and we all bring our whole selves to work. And so as an HR professional, I think it's my job to help foster that and create that safe space for employees to bring their whole selves to work. So who am I professionally? My current role is Director of Human Resources for Penn Hills Charter School of Entrepreneurship. I have been in that role since 2018. I do all aspects of HR, everything you can think of. I was a Department of One for a number of years, and recently hired one other person. With the PHRA, I am the committee chair for the certification committee. I've been volunteering with the PHRA since about 2016.
Thank you very, very much. Yeah, if you see me kind of meticulously writing away here, I'm just taking some notes. So first, I want to unpack one of the things you said. You started this cohort, and that's actually been an interest of mine. And for all of us out there, show of hands. If you're driving, keep your hands on the wheel. But if you're listening in, just do a little raise of your hand there. How many of us would really value or find it useful to have maybe a round table or cohort of our professionals to help, bounce ideas off of? Valerie, is that something that you've put together yourself and have been, consistently meeting, like you said, on a monthly basis? Unpack that a little bit for me.
Yeah, so it's a group from our master's program. I just obtained a Master of Jurisprudence from Tulane Law School. And so as people graduate the program, there have been a few more people who've graduated since I finished up in August, but anyone that I connected with through that program who were in my classes. Hey, you want to join? We have this monthly meetup through text. We kind of ask each other questions about HR related issues. I call it my brain trust. I
Yeah.
just reached out and asked folks for support with updating and creating a more inclusive bereavement policy, for example.
Wow. Wow. And folks, just for us, all of us listening again, the purpose of this podcast is so that we're kind of breaking that barrier and having you get to know the board members of the PHRA so that you feel comfortable approaching them. So if that's of interest to you, please don't hesitate to reach out to either myself. I know I've worked with Val, like I said, for about 2 years now. She'd be more than happy to connect with you guys and speak further to that. So with that being said, Chanel, I'm going to kick it over to you. And I actually want to start with something fun. You actually sent me a picture of you, what looks like at Moulin Rouge in Broadway, New York.
Mhm.
What were you doing out there? What was that event?
Well, I'm originally from New York, Brooklyn, New York, Flatbush. I moved to North Carolina in middle school, but I still visit New York every year. Not only visit friends and family, but also shopping. And recently, I want to say since COVID, I just started to take an interest in. I'm just going to start going to Broadway shows. So my girlfriends and I, we take yearly trips. We actually stay in Midtown Manhattan. And last year went to go see Moulin Rouge, which was excellent. It
Yeah.
was beyond what I thought. And this is funny because I was not a big fan of the movie. Like I like it, but I'm not someone that knew all the words. But I think I was just in awe about just the stage direction. It was just awesome. It's probably I recommend anyone has a chance to go see it here locally, or if you're in New York, definitely go check it out. But yeah, that was the first thing I could think about when you said fun picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides my cat.
Besides the cats. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, yeah, before we started, Chanel, she was talking about her cats. So yeah, if any of us have cats out there, shout out to our cat owners. But yeah, my wife and I, we actually went to New York. That was one of the first Christmas presents I got her. That was like a big Christmas present, was for us to go to downtown Manhattan, and we stayed in one of the hotels there, and we saw Wicked on Broadway. And it completely, opened up my world to Broadway or live theater. And then since then, I love Hamilton. I think that's my favorite play out there right now. My mom and I got to see that at the Benedum Center when that was in town. But there is that different element, a different vibe. But if you're in New York, it's just bigger and I don't know, better. But yeah. Yeah. So Chanel, that being said, love that picture that you shared. Tell us a little bit about yourself professionally.
Sure. So again, I'm Shanel Divito. I'm currently at the University of Pittsburgh. I work in the Office of Human Resources as the Director of Strategic Initiatives. It's actually a new position. I love my position. I think after 15 years of being in HR, I'm like, wow, it's like another possibility of human resources that I just never thought about. So in the role, I'm instrumental in working with our leadership team in developing, but also the execution of our strategic plan and strategic initiatives across university as HR connects. Again, where our whole goal or our BHAG, our big audacious goal is really to move from being just transactional into being more of a strategic business partner. And we're definitely on our way. I mean, I have an excellent team. I mean, our leadership team is 10 of us. Overall, we have 100 employees, and we're still continuing to grow to meet the needs of the university. And so it's an excellent role. I
Wow.
originally was the assistant deputy director of Allegheny County for the HR department. And before that, I was director of inclusion and collaboration at Pittsburgh Mercy. And I spent a formative years in HR at UPMC.
Wow. Yeah, UPMC, very, for those of us that may not be in the Pittsburgh area, it's a very, very big hospital chain here, and organization. And one of the things you did bring up that also Valerie brought up, and I want both of you to kind of answer this question is, Chanel, during your time, or I guess in your role now, you said you have what, an HR party of 10. There's about 10 of you guys that manage everything. A lot different than maybe Valerie's, HR department of one. Chanel, I'll start with you in that work history, we'll call it. How frequent or how infrequent was having a greater HR party? Because I think a lot of the times when I go to PHRA events and I'm meeting new people and I'm increasing my network, I'm finding that it's more common that HR doesn't have a very big headcount. The department itself is usually around one or two. Maybe you have a third person that handles accounts payable or whatever. But again, Shanel, I'll start with you. How impactful is that additional support that maybe frees up your time, and has that been the norm in your work history?
Well, I would say, I actually come from working like in huge HR departments to where I had one position where I was the HR of one. And
Yeah.
actually, that was where I really, I would say, revved up my interaction with PHRA, because without PHRA, like that was my HR department was PHRA.
As it
And
is for many of the viewers or
as a
listeners,
many for
yep.
us, and that was my support system. I will say now coming into a larger HR department where it's 10 leaders, but overall it's 100 employees. I mean, if to say that is not a difference would be an understatement. It vastly is, but I think I love the opportunity to be able to just intimately, like, really work with people and really understand almost all of the nuances of HR. How does that work on a strategic level? When you're an HR person of one, I'm thinking strategy, but I'm also processing this paperwork, doing evaluation. So I think with this role, but I think I will say being the HR of one has prepared me for where I'm at now. I wouldn't be the HR generalist I would say I am now if I didn't have that experience doing the work myself. So I'm able to really to connect with almost all of the employees, regardless of your title, because I hate to say that, but I'm like, oh, I understand. Been there, done that. Oh, I totally get that. So I think it's just eye-opening to have that additional support, but I feel I'm able to connect on a stronger level because I've also done the work, and I'm able just to have a variety of conversations, but also learn from different people.
Yeah. And Valerie, I kind of want to get your input as well. I know you've served the PHRA for, a number of years now. And I saw you smile when you said, or when I said, yeah, a lot of the members that we have, and I know you know this, being part of the PHRA for years as well. A lot of our listeners, a lot of our viewers, we are HR parties of one or two. So being at the Penn Hill Charter School, being that HR party of one, maybe two, how has that role impacted you not only professionally, but the PHRA been able to help you and bring resources in so that HR party one might actually be an HR party of, 1,000, right? Because we have so many different members that have, so much experience.
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I started in human resources, I started my career in 2006 in HR, and I worked for Carnegie Museums of Pittsburgh, which had an HR department of about 8 people at that time, which was fantastic. We were divided into functional areas. So there was performance and comp. I was in the employee relations recruiting area. There was a benefits functional area. There was our director overseeing everything. And then there was a gentleman who sort of handled finance and data. Yeah. And so we all worked very nicely. We all had our little areas, and I became sort of an expert in employee relations, onboarding, new hires, recruiting. Then when I moved on from that organization to a department of 2, I was an HR generalist, and I had to kind of learn on the fly. And that was in 2016. And just like Shanel did, I recognized the PHRA, I need these people, I need my people, because you got to develop, like I said, that cohort, those people who with whom you can share knowledge and expand your network of external expertise. Absolutely. Because those people can help you. None of us knows everything. And so that having that network has only helped me as I've moved on in my career through different positions, where that first HR experience was a gift with the 8 people in the HR department, because I have not seen that again.
and I actually get a lot of members that approach me. I've developed great relationships over these past 2 years, and some of them are in those roles right now where they're an HR party of 8 or 10, and they want to grow, but they feel like they're limited in terms of their path or their means of getting promoted in their current roles. And quite honestly, the advice I've shared with a lot of them is, look for an organization that might be a little bit smaller, where, you would be an HR generalist, and it's going to give you knowledge hand over fist, because you are going to have to learn on the fly. You are going to have to, rely more on your network that you develop or have developed here at the PHRA, which is a great segue into our next question here. So talking about learning for this 2024 year. Shanel, I'll start with you. What are some of the HR trends that you're seeing or are going to be focusing on internally at the University of Pittsburgh?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to say two parts. Number one, for us, data and metrics really start to make a more informed, data-driven decisions. And we have a new chancellor now at the University of Pittsburgh. She actually started last summer, and that's a major initiative now across all of Pitt. But when I first started in my department, that's where we were really driving towards. Really understanding what data that we have versus what do we need to have and how we utilize systems to be able to support us with those analytics, and also making sure it's essentially transparent and easy to access. So when we talk about, for example, DE&I, understanding what, not only the concept of that, but you have to know where you're at to know where you have to go, and also understand what's a metric, what's KPI. And for us, I think HR people is kind of intuitive because we're in this field, but it's not. And so it's a really good opportunity to educate people on why data is important, but also how you use data and how do you make strategies off of that. Second piece, I would say AI. What we're looking at right now in our office is how to use AI in regards to productivity, but really how do we enhance customer service through AI? So, for example, we have a service center where anyone can come in regards to ask questions. This could be external or internal, but how do we just use AI as far as chat bots? I think we're all used to, if you go to Amazon or if you pay your Verizon bill, there's little chat bots that come up. Why can't we have that in HR? So I love that. How do we explore that? And then we can spend more time with the customers, I'm saying internally and externally, to have more of, I would say, more detailed conversations and assistance for more of those tougher questions. But if we could save an email and save 10 minutes of productivity, if someone just needs a benefit number and have a bot just automatically give that, that's great. And I think the fear is there's senses like, we're replacing people. I don't think it's replacing people. We're looking at it as how can we use AI to work smarter? And I won't say work harder, but really is the idea of how can we work harder in the essence that we're addressing our customers' needs. And what we're hearing on the campus is they want more interactions with us. So let's kind of knock out the simple questions utilizing AI so we can focus on if we have people that really want to say, hey, how do I build a recruitment strategy that's also tackling inclusion? Let's have a discussion about that rather than the email. Let's have an email for, what's the link to open enrollment? Let's let AI do the simple stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what it really is for. And I think, it's going to lessen fears, I believe, in HR about this is replacing people, because no AI bot is going to be able to do HR completely. And anyone
gonna lose that human element. Yep.
it's just
Right.
we always going to need a human element, and that's why we have the H in HR. But again, just like I think it's worth exploring, seeing how we can start to develop that to meet our needs in our field.
That is such a good point. And I think that is such that is a topic that a lot of us are thirsty for in learning more. How can we utilize AI to streamline certain processes? And I agree with you. I think that a lot of folks right now are worried that it's going to be, replacing jobs. But with that, with the creation and not just of AI, but what AI will, continue to create, I think that will, in hindsight, create more jobs or create different jobs. So the jobs that might be replaced will have replaced by some of the things that we need with AI. One question you had, having regarding like open enrollment. I know for those of us listening that share Shanel's same thoughts, I know I did. There are learning management systems out there where it does have that little chat bot that will pop up and you can ask specific maybe questions to, or ask hey, what is the number that I could call for any health related issues. It'll populate all of that for you. So if you guys did want to learn more there, just feel free to reach out to myself. I'd be happy to point you in the direction of maybe a learning management system there. But I actually wrote down, so I'm a big Tony Robbins believer. He's kind of a life coach, and I was watching one of his videos last week, and one of the things you said was measuring. So one of the things that I'd actually written down from the summit or seminar that I watched of his is you cannot manage what you don't measure. And you should be increasing the timeline in which you are measuring whatever it is or those metrics that you're focusing on. So if you're measuring just once a year, maybe bump that to twice a year, or maybe bump that to every quarter. The more frequently we measure something, the better handle we have on it. So we are approaching time. So Valerie, I'm going to kick it to you, and please take as much time as you would like, but I would love to hear from you how or what HR trends you're seeing now for this 2024 year in your role.
Yeah. Well, first, I want to thank Shanel for that response, because I think the crux of your response is that HR has a strategic role. HR is a business partner. HR should have a seat at the table. We're no longer personnel where we're just pushing papers and handing out W-4 forms to people. We're so much more than that. We are valuable partners to the business, and we are part of the business's growth. And if all we're doing is pushing paperwork, we're not able to be in the fullness of our role. What I'm seeing, we have a lot of employees of childbearing age and work in education. So all the legislation surrounding pregnancy, and the things that go along with it, the overlap of Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. How does that intersect with the ADA? How does that intersect with the FMLA? What are best practices surrounding pregnancy loss? Maybe it's not the law yet, but what can we be doing as strategic HR professionals thinking in a visionary way about supporting employees who are expecting or experiencing reproductive issues? Also, increasingly complex ADAAA scenarios, leave of absence scenarios, because as we think about the ways that everything intersects, like I said, people bring their whole lives to work. And so we have to be considering all aspects of the legislation along with the personal of what this person is experiencing in order to support these employees.
Wow. Yeah, that is very, very at the forefront of things and very important, making sure that any habits or things that our employees are used to now and any changes that we may be implementing, that we find a way to kind of ease into that. So I really, really appreciate that response. And both of you, I want to say thank you so much for the time you both took out of your busy schedules to have me, a poor man's PHRA interview both of you. It's been my pleasure. So again, all of us listening out there or viewing in, if you do have any questions or any of the topics we talked about today, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself, to Liz, or Valerie and Shanel. And if you don't have their contact information, I'm sure we'll be able to get it to you swiftly. But both of you, thank you so much again. And I hope you guys found this exciting and fun. And maybe we can invite you back for the next time we do a podcast internally at the PHRA.
Absolutely. This was fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
People do matter. And at the end of the day, we cannot get any work done if we don't have the right people in place. Are your people connected? Latitude is the one-stop shop people connection software platform. Our software workshops and programming facilitate new employee onboarding, manager one-on-ones, stay interviews, mentorship programs, and peer networking to increase retention, engagement, satisfaction, productivity, profitability, and happiness. Imagine a technology that intersects your calendar with LinkedIn, Zoom, Google Docs, and your CRM. Contact Latitude today to schedule a conversation.
The PHRA P4 podcast was created to help build HR leaders through discussions with thought and business leaders on the most critical success factor of any business, its people. If you enjoy an episode, please help us spread the word by subscribing to the podcast and providing us a rating. We would love for you to take a screenshot of the episode, tag PHRA, and share it with your followers. Until next time, thank you